Good evening and welcome to the Week 8 Bushland Falcon Media Coaches Show, coming to you live here from Mitch's Barbecue as we do every week at 7 p.m. Tonight will look a little bit different because, once again, today's a holiday. You know, we had one earlier in the year on a Monday, and what we do for those is because of practice being early in the morning and wanting to give Coach Reynolds the afternoon off to spend with his family, because we know that not only does he value that, but we value him being able to do that. And there's such a unique little opportunity every now and then to get an afternoon off in the fall, because not only does coach football, but he also happens to be our athletic director, which demands a lot of time. And so we got to sit down this afternoon. So we'll hear my interview with Coach Reynolds here in just a little bit. You'll also get our local Legend Outfitters player of the game, Tanner Adams, joining us here in about 20 minutes. Tanner, man, he's had an amazing season, and it felt like it's funny. Chris and I were talking on Friday night. There were multiple weeks. It felt like by halftime and early third quarter, Tanner Adams would be he was in that conversation week after week, and it just seemed like every time Cade Gavinia would score a bunch of touchdowns, or Dawson Jaco last week would break the school record for total touchdowns, and despite Tanner having 4. And so this week it was very similar. Tanner took a big early lead. Cade Gavinia tried to close the gap with 3 touchdowns on the night, but Tanner Adams, 7 catches, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, almost 200 yards in the return game, play some quarterback out there on the island as well, and just having an amazing season. So excited to sit down and talk to the fastest man in 3A. And we may talk a little bit of track with him. You know, Tanner was part of the state silver medal 4x1 last year. Didn't get to run the 100 meters just because of the unique way that UIL does it. And I'm a huge proponent of there should be some automatic bids or automatic qualifiers to regionals, because he happened to get hurt and miss. The 2 meets he missed were district and area, and yet here's arguably last year one of the top 3 fastest men in the entire state didn't get to run at the state meet in the 100-meter dash, but excited to see him healthy and on a football field, because he is electrifying. And we'll get to sit down and visit with him here in a bit. But before we get into our interview with Coach Reynolds, let's talk a little bit about Friday night. You know, we go on the road to number 10 Muleshoe, that is at the time 6-0 coming into the game. Coach Richards has that Muleshoe team, man, they're firing on all cylinders. I think they hadn't given up, but somewhere like 70 points on the entire season, maybe 80, averaging almost 50 points a game. And the Falcons went in there, jumped on them early, a quick strike from DJ to Cade Gavinia for a 55-yard touchdown. Falcons jumped up early, and then back came the Mules. You knew that they weren't going to go away quietly, and Sienez got a long touchdown run, made it 21-17. Their defense came out and got their first stop of the game. We punted the ball away, and just as it looks like they're driving to cut the lead to 7, Ty Purcell, quarterback, throws a great ball down the sideline, and like he's done multiple times this year, Ty Purcell just seems to come out of nowhere, picks the ball off, returns it, I think 85 yards. 87 would have got him a touchdown. 85 yards to the Muleshoe 2-yard line, where the Falcons punch it in, and from there on, they controlled the 9 on what became a nice and chilly Friday night. Really felt like football weather, but it blew in all of a sudden. You know, it was beautiful at game time. One of the unique things that Chris and I enjoy about Muleshoe is that it's an open-air press box, and you're right there with our own fans, because it's on the away side. If you got to watch that game, man, you got to feel the band right there with us, because they were right underneath us. But man, when that weather blew in, it got chilly, and it got chilly fast. That open air press box, there wasn't much keeping it out, but it just really began to feel like fall and football, because you know we've had some pretty warm games up to this point. And it'll be another chilly night this week, heading into River Road, which we talked to Coach Reynolds about. So let's jump right into our interview with Coach Reynolds, and then we'll be back. All right, Stephen Lyles, Bushland Falcon Media here, week 7 of the Coaches Show, here with Josh Reynolds. Another holiday, so you had an early morning practice. How was it out there this morning?
It was really nice early. You know, I had a hoodie on, and we got going in practice, and I sweated it up pretty good. So it's really nice morning. So it's good to get that practice in the cool weather.
Do you get a little longer to practice without just the limitations? Do these days help during the season?
Yeah, honestly, I'd prefer just to stay on routine with school and everything, because when we have the school day, we use the athletic period, you know, as a little practice during the morning, and then we come back after school, you know, and have the rest of practice. So I feel like when we have holidays, we don't have school, I feel like we actually lose a bit of practice time. So, you know, we make it work. Kids adjust well.
It feels like everybody was here today. And so speak to the commitment level of these student athletes, because I feel like they don't miss a day.
No, you know, we're really proud of our kids and their commitment to what we're doing. You know, the thing is, any extracurricular activity, you're either all in or you're in or not. You know, and if you can make excuses to not be here, then you know we can make excuses not to play you. You know, so our kids they're well aware of that. They're committed to their teammates and the program. So having these kids here, you know, we're just really proud of them.
You know, when you talk extracurricular, you're here all the time. Like, let's be honest, you live here during the fall, I'm sure. The band does too, and they're there every Friday night. You know, they just had a performance last week, got top 3A band. What is it like having the pride of the Panhandle everywhere y'all go?
It's awesome. You know, just the fact that, you know, they love to be there. You know, the band members, Mr. Bennington, they love to be there, be a part. It's not just a football game. You know, it's a community deal. It's a town deal. It's, you know, we've talked about this before. You know, it's band, it's cheerleaders, it's fans. It's a whole experience every Friday night. That's what makes it so special. And you know, I know our football players love it. They want the band there. They want them leading them out the tunnel and all that stuff. So, you know, and then, you know, they're obviously great. You know, they did really well last week on their performance. So we're just thankful that we have those guys.
Absolutely. And there's something special about when you hear that drum line on a Friday night, because you know the Falcons are coming.
Yeah.
So let's get to the game last week. A lot of hype coming in around the state more than here, I feel like. I felt like that, ironically, in our community, it felt like just a normal football week. But obviously, Muleshoe was number 10, off to a great start. Dave Campbell's is covering. Are you starting to hear from more people around the state right now? Or is your time getting requested in some of those places?
Oh, no, not too bad, really. You know, I try not to worry about any of that stuff. You know, I think you don't want to get caught up in it. It's kind of, you know, catch-22. You know, your kids deserve that attention. Absolutely. You know, when you get to that point, you want your kids to have the recognition and the attention they deserve. But at the same time, the way I think about it too is, if we do what we want to do, we'll have that recognition when it really means it. You know, to me, all the preseason hype and rankings and all that stuff, that's for fans and people to look at. It's all cool. It doesn't mean anything until you get going and playing. It's about the games played on Friday nights, and I'd rather be talked about and ranked high at the end of the year than the beginning of the year.
December matters a little more than October. But even with that, it felt like that may have been the most locked in your team has been at 7 o'clock all season. And, you know, you talk a lot about the last few years about building up to 7 o'clock on Friday night. Was this week different, or what kind of got it there? Because it felt like at 7:01, they were ready to go.
I think what we're trying to do is get our kids to realize it doesn't matter the opponent. It's a new team. It's a new face. It's a new team we're playing. We have to approach it like that every time. You know, at 7 o'clock, it doesn't matter who we're playing. We have to have that same mentality that you just talked about. We have to have that every Friday night at 7 o'clock. It doesn't matter who we're playing. Yeah, I think it does change a little bit when you go from non-district games to, all right, here we go, start district. Yeah, I mean, that turns it up a notch a little bit. But I think what we have to, if we can step on the field every Friday night, that focus, that intensity, that execution, I know I like our chances.
So Muleshoe's been averaging 50 points, almost 50. I think it was 48.6 points a game coming in. And your defense really, outside of a couple big plays, just shut them down for the most part. What did you see on the defensive side that you really liked on Friday?
Well, like you said, they're an offense that was averaging close to 50 points a game, and probably would be more than that. You know, they got some big leads on some teams, you know, on a lot of those games, and kind of held off. So they're a very good offense. We knew that coming in. We told the kids, look, we're not gonna. They're a good offensive team. They have some weapons. They're gonna move the ball. They're gonna get some first downs. Sure, would we love to shut them out and keep them from getting the first down? Yeah, that'd be great. But they practice too. They have good athletes too. It's just not going to probably happen where you just keep them from not getting the first down, even though that's the way I feel sometimes. We give up first down, and Coach Holt, I'll probably ask him, what are we doing? He's like, well, that's the second first down of the game. But, it's just an expectation that our kids have, I think, and our coaches, that we want to try to shut people down defensively. And like I said, we did a great job. There was a couple of big plays, which, Sinez, the running back, 21, he was a state track meet kid the last 2 years. He's a fast kid. The quarterback can throw it, and he's very hard to tackle, the quarterback, pretty slippery guy. You do everything right, cover everything, and you get a little pressure, and he steps up in the pocket and escapes. So, he's a good athlete. And they had some other good players as well. So, limiting ultimately comes down to points. We gave up some yards, not a ton, but we gave up some yards, made them snap it again. And when we made them just drive down the field and snap it again and didn't give the big play, we held them out of the end zone.
And your offense, it's clicking on all cylinders right now. It feels like another 7-touchdown performance by DJ. Tanner Adams, 170 yards. He was our local legend Outfitters player of the game. Keg Uvini, I think, got to the end zone another 3 times. When you look up and you're looking at your play sheet, is it hard to call plays right now? Because it seems like I got playmakers everywhere.
Well, that's a good problem to have. We try, especially early in the game, we try to spread it around as much as possible, just keep people off balance. We want everybody to try to get a touch early. And that's the good thing. It's not, what you see a lot of, Tanner and Cade, they're scoring a lot of touchdowns, doing a lot of great things. But we also have a ton of confidence in Stratton Malloy, Zach Zundel, Max Rodriguez. Austin Ryder comes in and does a good job for us. Ty Tarango, Tag Thrash has come in and done some great things. All of our running backs have come in at different times and done things well. We just kind of played a hot hand a little bit there, and because all of our running backs played defense, quite a bit of defense too. So we try to kind of spell those guys, when needed, and it all works out pretty well. But all that doesn't happen if your offensive line isn't playing well. Great protection, man. Good pass protection. I don't think we had a sack all night. I think there's one time they kind of got to us a little bit, but other than that, they did a great job.
Yeah, we talked about it on the broadcast. I think there was only about 2 times that they really had a true quarterback pressure where DJ just wasn't able to stand there and do his thing. And if you give DJ time, that's lethal. You mentioned Zach Zundel. He real explosive last year, obviously coming off of an ankle surgery and rehab. How big is it getting another one of those weapons? Because, man, him coming out of the slot with that touchdown, that's just it feels like he's getting back to full health.
Yeah, it really feels like you're getting 2 or 3 players back with Zach, because he could do so much. He starts at corner right now. He can come in and offense, and he's starting to really, hit his stride, I think, right now, feel healthy. He's a good receiver. You can put him in the backfield. He's got great vision, a good runner. He can go back on kick returns, punt returns. He can do a lot of things. So you really feel like you're getting 2 or 3 guys back with Zach, and he's just now getting that confidence, so we're excited to have him back.
And one other guy that seems to be back to full speed, number 5, Colton Reynolds. That one's probably a lot of fun to watch, but I think that may have been the best football game I've seen him play, period, Friday night.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm so just locked in on what's going on. I don't see him all the time. When I do, he usually hears from me about it. He doesn't like it, but no, it's fun, getting to be out there and share the field, just share all the memories that you get to go out there just with your team, and your son being a part of that. It's just really neat.
Feels like we're getting healthy at the right time, heading into week 2 of district. River Road coming to town this year. I had to think about that. Yeah. It's weird because I have a JV player, so I always at some point I go to every town during the season. But heading into week 2 of district, 1-0. Obviously, anytime you can be 1-0 in district, you're one step closer to your goal. What do you look for Friday night to take that next step?
Well, we just want to take care of step 2. We just finished talking about that on the practice field. Step 2, step 2 doesn't have a name or face or color, the jersey or anything like that. Step 2 is taking care of us, just like it was step 1. We We have to know your opponent. You got to know what they do and their tendencies and all that. But we're talking about just taking care of us week to week, getting better at we do. Because no matter how good we play, just like Friday, we come back Saturday and turn the film on, and sure enough, even on some of the good plays, you're like, what are we doing right here? Why did we do that? So there's plenty to be worked on. We just keep taking care of us and getting better at the stuff that we do, and that's the main focus. We feel like that should take care of Friday nights.
And speaking of Friday nights, it started to feel like football weather on Friday night, didn't it?
It did. I'll tell you what, I had that hoodie on. It was a short sleeve hoodie on Friday in Millshoe, and I knew that front was coming in, and it hit right before the game. And I didn't think about it too much until about 5 minutes before half, and I was pretty cold. We went in at halftime. I put 2 hoodies on top of that at halftime, so that wind chill was a little cool.
It was. I looked across the field, and, their coaches coach on top outdoors of their press box, and I thought, man, they couldn't wait. They and the officials, there was a timeout probably a minute before half, and they're still in short sleeves at that point, and they're all sitting there rubbing their arms, and you're like, all right, I think this bit a little harder than we maybe thought it was going to.
It's supposed to be pretty cool this Friday as well.
It is, and so starting to feel like football weather. Coach, great win Friday night. Felt like just complete, all 3 phases of the game, it felt like we're just clicking. Good luck heading into River Road. Thanks for taking the time as always.
Thank you.
Hey, enjoy your Monday night.
That's right.
Coming down. And we'll be right back after this break, and we'll have our local legend outfitter player of the game, Tanner Adams, with us. Whether you need a building to grow your business or you simply need more space for a backyard workshop, look no further than Tightwire Construction. Kurt and his team will get you the most out of your metal building and take pride in exceeding your needs with great customer service. To talk about your next project, give Kurt a call at 806-683-6842 or visit tightwireconstruction.com. And as always, go Falcons.
Hope Choice is a faith-based, pro-life organization that assists women facing an unplanned pregnancy by providing free pregnancy tests, sonograms, educational classes, and baby supplies. Hope Choice is also helping young people and parents by taking a stand against society's influences that are threatening today's families. By offering free mentoring programs to young people ages 8 to 18, retreats, and character building presentations for students in the schools, Hope Choice is changing culture one heart at a time. Learn more about the mentoring programs, events, how to volunteer, or become a financial partner by visiting hopechoice.com. That's hopechoice.com.
The Bushland Falcons are a symbol of excellence in all athletics, so when the Falcons take the football field, there is no room for error. Vanessa McDonald with Lyons Realty feels the same way about her job. As a real estate professional with almost 20 years of experience, Vanessa knows there's no room for error when it comes to your real estate goals. Fortunately, Vanessa's real estate experience, understanding of clients' needs, forward-thinking company behind her, and her love for the Bushland community all combine to form a winning team for her clients. So give Vanessa a call today for a free market analysis on your home at 806-336-7885. Once again, that's 806-336-7885. And as always, go Falcons!
AA&A Windshield and Glass is a proud sponsor of the Bushland Falcons. We are your one-stop shop, and we'll get it done right. We are a family-owned and operated business for over 35 years, and we specialize in windshield replacement installation and rock chip repair. We offer scheduled appointments in our shop, or we'll come to you with our mobile service. Call us today at 806-353-9119 or fill out our contact form at aawindshieldglass.com to get started. See clearly with AA&A Windshield and Glass.
No one said living here was simple. They just said it was worth it. This land wasn't easy to settle. More than 30 years in business will teach you that. Her elements are fierce and forceful. Amarillo can take anything thrown her way. Your body shop should too. Loki's Body Shop, built for Amarillo.
All right, welcome back here to Week 8's Bushland Falcon Media Coaches Show, here with our local legend outfitter, player of the game, Tanner Adams. Tanner, thanks for taking a day off. Thanks for taking the time to join us. you're having a heck of a season, man. Double-digit touchdowns already, if I'm not mistaken. Approaching, well, you got to be approaching 1,000 yards on the season.
I think so.
And I know you're really not a stats guy. It seems to be the common theme. Y'all have team, everything's team everything on this. But I got to ask you, is there some kind of friendly competition between you and Cade? Because it seems like every time one of you does something, the other one tries to just one-up them.
I think, yeah. I don't know if I call it competition, but we definitely push each other to do a little better.
I mean, he goes for 55 to open the game on the screen. I think you took your screen 63.
Yeah.
So, and then I've heard that there is a blocking title every week. Who got it this past week?
Coach Mullen will probably give it to him tomorrow, but if I had to take a guess, it'd probably be Max or Stratton.
But you've had it a couple times this year, I've heard.
Yes, I think I've had it twice. I got it against Childress because I was blocking downfield for Cade on all his touchdowns, all three of them that he had.
How big is that? I mean, as a unit, it seems like there's not a me-first mindset. If any of you get your hands on the ball, everybody else is looking for somebody to put a shoulder in. How big is that for just not just for individually, but how big of that is it for y'all to have a wide receiver room that supports each other like that?
Oh, it's huge because then further down the road, like, not everybody's going to have the greatest game of their lives every game. So, like, Stratton will have his game, Cade will have his game, I'll have my game, Max will have his game, and then, Ty Tarango will have his game, and we'll all just be there.
And you got another weapon at your disposal that feels like he's starting to get healthy. Zach Zundel got in the end zone on Friday night, which adds just another electrifying piece to that offense.
It's nice.
I think y'all make DJ's life pretty easier. I mean, it's never easy when there's big dudes chasing you while you're trying to find an open guy, but it makes it's. I asked him last week, and he gave. It's cool to have. Let me ask you this, because you don't need my opinion. What's it like playing for DJ?
It's amazing. He just always puts the ball in the perfect spots.
There's a fly. I am so ready for a hard freeze to get rid of the flies, but now Friday night it kind of felt like we might have been heading to a hard freeze. It got cold before halftime. Being the first time this year, do you like it when it's cold, or would you rather be warm?
I'd way rather it be cold.
It just felt like football.
It's football weather.
Chris and I had that conversation of, for the first time all season, it felt like it was football weather.
I agree.
Now, when you go into a game like that with Muleshoe, you're going on the road. Number 10, there's a lot of hype around them. They were 6-0, and well-deserved. They're having a great season, and I think that for them, they just happened to run into a really, really good Falcon team. But does it change anything for y'all from that perspective of going into a game that maybe a lot of people are talking about versus maybe the week before Borger or Dumas?
No, I say we just take it, like Coach Reynolds says, we take it week by week.
And it doesn't really matter the color of the jersey on the other side?
We're just worrying about ourselves.
Now, one of the things that we've started, people were like, hey, we want to get to know these guys better. And so now you've probably heard some of the interviews. You probably had a little bit of time to think up on them. I got 4 questions for you. The first is favorite movie.
Probably The Water Boy.
Really? That's the first we've heard of that this year, but that is a great movie. Arguably, Parker and I had this conversation the other day, is he the most dominant football character in a movie?
He has to be.
Has to be. And because, man, anyway, I can go off on a tangent there. Favorite candy. What do you taking into the movies when you go to watch one?
Snickers.
Always Snickers.
Always.
Now, do you eat it in pieces, or like in layers, or do you eat it all at once?
Like 3 bites.
3 bites. I had a buddy since high school. We've been friends, but he eats the top of the Snickers first and then eats the peanut butter part. It's so weird.
I don't know about that one.
So when Tanner's not playing ball or running track, what's a hobby away from sports that entertains you?
Sleep.
Sleep.
I love my sleep.
Well, and we just talked about you got a good nap on your day off, and so, it's funny you said it because Coach Dreyer just posted yesterday a study saying, hey, the biggest piece of recovery and performance is sleep. So he has to like your sleep habits. All right. What is Tanner? If there could be a song that plays every time you walk into the room, what's Tanner Adams' walkout music?
You're the Champions by Queen.
Nice. You were the first that actually had his ready to go. So you've had a little bit of time to think about it. Now, you're not just a football guy. Obviously, we saw you back in May running at the state track meet. Football or track?
They're pretty even.
Are they?
Future-wise, I'll say track.
Is it unique, or does it feel weird for me to sit here because after obviously last season the injury you didn't get to run the 100 meter individual, but you still got to run the 4x1. So we know the splits, we know the times. You are on paper the fastest man in 3A. How does that feel?
I don't really recognize it during like the football season, but once track comes around, it's definitely like kind of like walking into the track meet. You feel good.
Now, I've been very outspoken on the track side of there needs to be an automatic qualifier to at least one, if not two regionals. Now, earn your way to state. I mean, because you'd want to earn your way there. But with the injury last year, did that take some of the shine off of it, or was the 4x1 enough?
I think the 4x1 was enough. That was a great group of guys to be around. And so going to state with them was amazing.
And a real senior-heavy team. What'd you learn just being around guys like Tate and Baylor that just had been there?
I think I learned how to prepare myself for some big things. Like they were really good at preparing.
I like it. And now this year, obviously Max stepped in last year. So you've got you and Max. Who else is who are you thinking for that 4x1 this year?
I don't know. Hammer's fast. And then if Cade was
Hammer 100 meter fast? Because I watched him run the 400 and he ran some 4x4s. And he is fast.
Mm-hmm.
Is he 100 meter fast?
I think he could be.
It's always interesting to see guys because I guarantee you're not going past 200 meters, are you?
I'm going to run the 200 this year.
But you're not going you're not about to go run a 400, are you?
I ran the 300 meter hurdles 8th grade.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because it seems like 400, 800 guys, they don't really go down, and 200 guys are like, y'all are crazy for trying to run that far.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, if our sound's bad, we do have a yellow signal here, so just hang with us. We record everything. We'll post it all. It'll have great quality. Internet is always a fun jaunt in this metal building, and so obviously I'd sit here and talk track all day. I love track, but without looking ahead, what are some personal goals you have? You still got a couple weeks left in the season. I have a feeling that game in 2 weeks y'all have had circled for a little while because there's some retribution there. But what are some personal goals that maybe Tanner has before this season ends?
I don't know what the touchdown record is, but I want it. I want that.
That's a good one. And that's a great question. It's funny. I didn't even know that DJ was approaching the single game touchdown record until Jared Thomas, he's coaching down at Morton now. He co-owned that record with Taylor Cornelius at 7, and he happened because Morton had the week off. He was at that game in Seminole, and I run into him at halftime, and he goes, "I need DJ to quit." And I'm like, "What do you mean you need DJ to quit?" And he's like, he's knocking on the door. He's going to take away our single game touchdown record, and I didn't even know that there was one. I don't know that I've really seen record books. Where would we find that? Who kind of keeps that? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I'm going to find it. By Friday night, I will know the single season touchdown record and just how close you are. Because I get it's never about the individual accolades. But let's be honest. As hard as y'all work, it's pretty cool to put your name in the books, in the history of Bushland Falcon football, because there's some big names in there. And I asked DJ, I said, what is it like because Taylor Cornelius obviously playing professional football now. Jared Thomas had great seasons. You and Cade both are up there with some of the best receiving seasons in the history of Falcon football. What does it mean to you to get to be part of that legacy?
It's great. I like being up there with Cade, I'm going to be honest, because Cade's one of my best friends. So being up there with Cade is just a lot of fun.
Have you thought about talking him into running track with you?
That's what I was just about to say. I was like, if we could get Cater on that third leg, just like he's running around the bases, I think we can go back to back.
He can move around the bases. I like the and that curve, that final curve, kind of fits him, doesn't it?
Yep.
Wouldn't be much different from going home to second. You were a baseball guy for a long time. Do you miss it ever?
Not really, because I have track.
That's Parker, same way. He great baseball player. It actually hurt my heart because I love baseball. Whenever he was like, "Dad, I just want to focus on track," but track guys you're built different. You like it. Now, if you could give me 3 words that describe Coach Reynolds, what would they be?
Oh, I don't even know.
And the reason I'm asking you is because I got asked that this week, and I struck because obviously he's so steady and he's such a competitor. But I also think about things like I look at how efficient he may be the best film watcher in the state in 3A. Because as we've talked a lot about, he loves to script those first 10 to 15 plays. But man, they've been. I don't know that we've not scored 14 outside of Canadian, which that was just Canadian and just I don't forget the first half of Canadian. I don't know that we haven't scored at least 21 points in the first 10 to 15 plays that he scripted all year.
I don't think we haven't.
And so you just know he's put in the time to watch the film to put y'all in a position to succeed. And obviously y'all been very successful. How big is that to know that you have a mind like that behind you that puts it all? Because obviously you make plays, but you can't make them if you're not in that position. And between the quarterback and Coach Reynolds, you and Cade and Max and all of you even Fetch has been in here. It's just. It feels like y'all are always in the right place and the ball's coming to the right spot. And how big is that for you as a player, knowing if I do my job, I'm going to be taken care of?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like knowing that he's over there and he's got like the next play ready to go, and it's most of the time going to be like 5 to 10 yard gain no matter what, or it turns into a big play. Like it's huge.
So Chris made a comment a couple weeks ago that about it seems like when we got our first down, we had success. So we've been tracking it the last 3 games. There has only been 1 drive that we've converted the first down and not scored, and it was the 4th down where we got stopped, and then obviously they punted and we turned around and scored. But 1 time in 3 games. When you go out there, is that the first thing you're thinking when you get on the field? We got first down.
No. I'm getting to the end zone.
Forget the first down.
Yeah.
Get the ball in my hand. And it's happened a lot this year. And obviously the big plays are right up your alley. I think it was 63 and 59, your touchdowns this past week. Tanner, thanks for taking the time on a Monday night that's your day off of school to come join us. Congrats on an amazing season. Look forward to what you have, not only on the football field, but also when we get to we'll talk about track when it comes, but excited to see you chase down that school record, touchdown record.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Whether you need a building to grow your business or you simply need more space for a backyard workshop, look no further than Tightwire Construction. Kurt and his team will get you the most out of your metal building and take pride in exceeding your needs with great customer service. To talk about your next project, give Kurt a call at 806-683-6842 or visit tightwireconstruction.com. And as always, go Falcons.
Adobe Wall Stoneworks, Justin Howe here. Listen, I can't believe it, but this year we're going to celebrate our 20th anniversary. The Texas Panhandle has been such a support for our little business, and we're so thankful. Amy and I have been dreaming about this design center for years. We want you to come check it out on Hillside. Go check out our website, adobewallstoneworks.com. Just like you go make a dinner reservation, you can click and make a reservation for a private design consultation in our indoor showroom right here on Hillside. Come check it out, Adobe Wall Stoneworks.
Procrete Construction is a regional concrete place and finish company designed from the ground up to give you solid professional service. Based in Amarillo, Procrete serves residential, commercial, and industrial construction industries. High standards of professionalism and quality are our benchmarks. We know your construction project requires a company that is equipped with the tools, knowledge, and experience to complete the work as promised with a focus on details. Call 806-318-3820 or go online to learn more about Procrete Construction at procretenow.com.
Melanie and Jeremy Scott with Texas Plains Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Realty support our Bushland Falcons on and off the field. As residents of the community, our school and students' success are important to us. A successful school drives home values and a strong sense of community, along with a desire to live in Bushland. To help further the community support, we have created a Bushland-only e-directory, which can be found at bushlandhomesandliving.com. Please visit our site and add your business listing for free.
AA&A Windshield and Glass is a proud sponsor of the Bushland Falcons. We are your one-stop shop and we'll get it done right. We are a family-owned and operated business for over 35 years and we specialize in windshield replacement installation and rock chip repair. We offer scheduled appointments in our shop or we'll come to you with our mobile service. Call us today at 806-353-9119 or fill out our contact form at aawindshieldglass.com to get started. See clearly with AA&A Windshield and Glass.
No one said living here was simple. They just said it was worth it. This land wasn't easy to settle. More than 30 years in business will teach you that. Her elements are fierce and forceful. Amarillo can take anything thrown her way. Your body shop should too. Loki's Body Shop, built for Amarillo.
Danny Richburg of Edward Jones is a proud sponsor of the Bushland Falcons, our school, and our community. As a financial advisor, he wants to know what is important to you. Not everyone has the same goals, aspirations, and plans for the future, and that's okay. Whether you're focusing on retirement, a loved one's education, your lasting legacy, or a trip around the world, he would like to help. If you're serious about your investments and understand that it takes a plan, but you don't have a plan, you need to visit with Danny. Whether that's across the desk, at your kitchen table, or on the phone, he's available for his clients. So give Sarah a call at his branch office at 806-352-2980, 806-352-2980, and set up a time to meet with Danny. New Vision Exterior Solutions is a proud sponsor of our Bushland Falcons. At New Vision Exterior Solutions, they take pride in and are committed to their work. With an increasing number of successful projects under their belt, they can proudly say they are one of the most trusted seamless gutter installation companies in Amarillo, performing both residential and light commercial work. New Vision Exterior Solutions can handle all of your gutter needs, including removal and installation, hail damage, wind damage, and leak guards. New Vision can also stain new and old fences and make those old fences look new. So give Brock Hall a call at 806-517-0533 and let New Vision Exterior Solutions provide a free estimate.
Plumbing problems, large or small, they can fix them all. Whether it's residential, commercial, new construction, or remodel and repair, more people call Jasper's Plumbing for sewer, water, and gas repair than any other company in our area, and you should too. Jasper's is a third-generation plumbing company proudly serving Falcon Nation.
Procrete Construction is a regional concrete place and finish company designed from the ground up to give you solid professional service. Based in Amarillo, Procrete serves residential, commercial, and industrial construction industries. High standards of professionalism and quality are our benchmarks. We know your construction project requires a company that is equipped with the tools, knowledge, and experience to complete the work as promised with a focus on details. Call 806-318-3820 or go online to learn more about Procrete Construction at procretenow.com.
All right, we're back here at the Bushland Falcon Media Coaches Show. Just got to visit with our local Legend Outfitter player of the game, Tanner Adams. Sorry, you're going to get just a screen here for the rest of our internet has cut out. We've lost all signal, so we don't have a connection camera to camera, even though I'm still looking at the camera talking to it. But so I ran a couple commercials. Sorry for the extended break. Tried to get it fixed. It's apparently it's just out. So
now it's just a podcast.
It is just a podcast, and so we'll post this in its entirety because you'll still have all the sound. The camera will just be frozen. So we apologize. So Chris, it felt like football for the first time weather-wise Friday night, didn't it?
It did. It did. I think we mentioned it several times in the broadcast. While it's a little rough as far as in the press box there in Muleshoe, but I kind of like it. I kind of like being outside. We talked about being able to really hear the band. You hear the crowd, good and bad there sometimes. Sorry, guys, giving you a hard time. But I like that, and it was cool. It was almost cold, right?
Not almost. It got chilly.
It did get chilly. I was watching Logan. Every time in the breaks, he'd go step back into that corner to try to get a little bit
out of
warm.
the wind.
But being out in it, I like it sometimes, right? I enjoy having Logan right next to us.
That
we
was
can
awesome.
talk to Logan. Hey, by the way, hats off to Logan. We need to clip that one catch.
Oh, man.
And get it to him. But Logan did a great job Friday night.
You know, with the upgraded camera, and you've got, obviously, the technology finally matches. For years, he's been trying to use basically an iPhone up there on a rough tripod, trying to keep up with it. And it doesn't always track the way the new equipment does. But, man, you put that new equipment in Logan's hand, and Logan is, you don't miss a play. And which it's funny because if you just come watch JV on a Thursday night, one of my streams, and you'll see what it's like because Logan does an amazing job. And so, yeah, absolutely want to give him a lot of credit there because when we go to replay, sometimes you never knew what you were going to get with old technology.
Oh, we missed that one.
And now it's like, you're going to see the play every single time.
Yeah, I'm so grateful we have replay back too. But that's
and thank you to Larry Marquez and Procrete Construction for sponsoring replay. Thankful for all of our sponsors. If you haven't been down here to Mitch's Barbecue and checked out one of their party packs, I know we're home this Friday, so come out, be in the stadium. But if you can't make it to Shallow Water the next week, it's not a bad thing to come get a Mitch's party pack and set up on a Friday night, put us up on the big screen in the house, and
or just get a party pack before the game.
That's true.
And then go to the game, too. Or you get you a Chick-fil-A sandwich at the game, whatever.
I'll tell you, last home game, we kind of got spoiled. The Schneiders and Lawlers out there cooking.
I missed that
you were in Colorado. Yes. They just kept bringing, first they're bringing up jalapeno poppers and then burgers.
A couple years ago, we had it pretty good as well. But, I missed
anytime you roll up and see those guys on the smoker, you know it's going to be pretty good.
Absolutely.
So if they happen to want to do it during River Road, we wouldn't complain.
We'll be available.
So we go on the road to number 10 Muleshoe. A lot of excitement there in Muleshoe and around the state. Even Matt Stepp, who a lot of people, he's Texas football insider, he picks Muleshoe. But yet the Falcons kind of went in and made a statement, didn't they?
Yeah, and we when we were asked last week what we think should happen, what we need to do, they did every one of those things.
Absolutely.
Come out quick, strike fast. We struck really fast. And I think that was, once you did that, then they're on their heels at that point. And so they haven't really been on their heels this year for the most part.
That's true.
Muleshoe hadn't. So, and we talked about how would they respond? I had no doubt we were going to do what we did. So how would they respond? That's going to be how that team does. As that team matures, that changes. But this is their first year that I think to where they're really starting to turn that corner. Well, that's a maturity point for them. They hadn't been challenged really hard this year. So that's a growing point for Muleshoe.
And there was a moment where they really answered the bell. We go up 21-0. They score on a touchdown, a great run by Siennas, and then they get the stop. They force the first punt of the game. And they're driving, and they have a long pass that looks open out of the quarterback's hand. That route looks open, and then out of nowhere comes Ty Purcell, picks the ball off, takes it back 85 yards. I meant to ask Tanner if he'd given Ty a little hard time because, man.
When they watched film Saturday morning, I guarantee you the whole crew got on him.
Ty ran a long way. Not only did he run 85 yards, he ran across the field through, just around.
Another 53 yards almost, right? Plus.
He went a long way to get tackled at the 2-yard line. And, he wanted that one back if he could. And he almost carried the guy in. I thought at first he was going to carry the guy into the end zone, but it never felt close after that. It felt like Bushland, that was what they needed to kind of put their foot down on the gas and say bye.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, momentum changes in a game, and that's a pivotal one. What happens if he goes out of bounds? And he goes out of bounds at about the 20 or 25? I don't know, right? But the fact that he runs that all the way back down to the 2, man, that's like takes all the air out of your balloon if you're the other team, because you feel like, hey, we got some momentum here. We stopped him, we got it back, we got a chance to be 21-14, and then all of a sudden, bam, it just swings the other way. And that's hard for a team to recover from, and again, I think it takes maturity. Look, bottom line is they've got some great athletes on that team.
Oh, they do.
Their running back, when he got in the open, he was gone.
He was the real deal.
Yeah, and so fun to watch. I think they've still got to grow as a program, and they are growing as a program. We could see it. That's not the same Muleshoe team as we played in the past.
Not at all.
By a lot. So great game for the Falcons, and I think we just set the tone for the district at that point.
I agree, and I look forward to seeing Dalhart Shallow Water and Muleshoe Shallow Water to kind of see what's out there, because this week it's Dalhart Shallow Water, and so we'll get our first look at Shallow Water in district before we make the trip to Lubbock. Obviously, can't look at and I've said this for weeks, and I said it with Austin today on his podcast. Is I feel like River Road could be a trap game, because let's be honest, we've had Shallow Water circled from day one of 2-a-days. Honestly, probably going back to when we walked off the field at Falcon Stadium last year, that loss stung for many reasons. One, we don't have Coach Mayfield. It just was one of those nights that just everything was off.
Yeah.
And Shallow Water took advantage of it. But you look up and you're like, okay, we know Shallow Water's 2 weeks away. River Road, a little bit of a down year for them. Could the Falcons could this I feel like it could be. Could this be a trap game that we look up and River Road hangs closer than we think?
I say no. I think Reynolds is really good about getting the team ready for the next game and not looking ahead.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I told him today and gave him a lot of credit for was it really felt like, he always talks about building to that 7 o'clock crescendo. He did that perfectly this week. I mean, when 7 o'clock hit, those Falcons were ready from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing Reynolds does a really good job. I think he's learned that really well from his mentors like Coach Thomas to do that, to say we can't look past that game because those are trap games, right?
Yeah.
So stay focused, stay focused, stay focused. And I'm sure, every time Shallow Water's the next game up, somebody like Jared is all over that. Oh, I got to look at Shallow Water. But no, bring it back, right? And say, no. And this team's going to look at that, and they're going to want to look ahead. Yeah. And looking ahead will cause you to trip in a trap game. So I don't think we will. I think we'll go into the game with a lot of confidence, and I think we'll do exactly what we did last week. I think we're going to jump up fast and then and get opportunities for others to come in and play.
Yeah, and that you look at a game like Friday night, which you expect the Falcons to perform very well in, and the two things for me, let's get out of there injury free, and let's get guys as many snaps as they can, because it obviously we don't get a bye week till that week right before the playoffs, and so you want to keep everybody in rhythm. You want to get them some snaps, but at the same time, it's also let's get out of there a little bit early. What's up, Madison? What's up, Miss Rachel Russell?
Absolutely. I look at that last game having a bye. It's good and bad. The problem is you got to run through 10 games before you get there.
Yeah.
But the great thing is you get the bye right before. district. I think that's an advantage in a lot of ways. A lot of teams will say, no, I'd rather have the bye right before going into. And when I was growing up, our bye was always right before district.
Yeah.
And everybody's was the same because we had an even number, right? So no matter what, we always had the bye right before district, and then you went to district. Well, that's great and all, but if you got to run 7 straight games and then you hit the playoffs, I got that many more games. That's a long run without a break.
That is.
You know, now you're going to get, but this is a long run. You got 10 games you got to run through before you get your break. But having that break right before the playoffs, I think is an advantage. That's just my thinking, but people have different opinions on that.
Well, in this year,
because it could be a momentum killer. That's what a lot of people will say.
And you know all the things, you lose your rhythm, all those things. But and I think in different years it can be different for each team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Shallow Water has dealt with a lot of injuries this year, so getting that their bye was this past week, so they didn't play that opening weekend of district because we're in a 5-team district. They probably appreciated the bye being earlier to get a couple guys healthy and back before district. The Falcons, on the other hand, we're just getting healthy. Guys like Zach Zundel are rounding into full form. Colton Reynolds is playing the best. I mean, to watch what Colton Reynolds does after 2 years off of football and 2 knee surgeries, and to see him play the way he did on Friday night was absolutely incredible. But we're getting healthy and building momentum. I like the fact that we don't have to take a week off right now and we can just roll through district, because obviously goal number 1, win district. And with the way this offense is firing and the defense is starting to really come together, this is a year that, man, you just start to feel like this team's, it's starting to click at the right time.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about things that we look for now in the upcoming weeks from the team. You know, we cleaned up some penalties. Yay.
We did.
You know, I've been on that for the last several weeks, right? But we cleaned that up. That looked so much better.
If you've been on it, can you imagine, Reynolds?
Oh, yeah. It's been a lot worse. So I think that's been cleaned up. Now I look at the next thing is we got to shore up the middle to keep from those big plays that have happened to us a couple of times up the guts. You know, as we get further down and you get better and better teams, shoring up that middle and closing down that is going to be really important. And that, to me, is our next big step. We're getting more and more receivers involved. We can rotate as many backs as you want through that backfield. I think everybody could play, even Jake, but back there. You know, so I look at all those different abilities we've got across the board. We still get that middle of that line, the defensive line. You know, we make some incredible plays constantly, right? As far as off the edges, even blitzing up the gut. Pass play, I don't have any problems with passes. I mean, we tend to get back there quick enough that really long pass plays don't tend to happen a lot. But it's that run up the middle is the last thing that I think we kind of need to kind of tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, and staying home in our lanes and assignments, because we saw it in the first quarter that, man, when that quarterback could get a little bit of time when things broke down, he took advantage of our aggressiveness, getting a little too far up the field, and had some big runs. And we're going to see that in this district. Everybody's got a mobile quarterback.
You're going to see that, and you're going to see that with a 10-1. Now that is what happens in that 10-1. It's highly aggressive, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're in that 10-1, you're always moving forward, right? So you're always headed towards the quarterback. You're always headed into the backfield, and depending on whether you're stunning from the inside or stunning from the outside, depending on the play that they pick from an offensive perspective, I mean, that can totally hurt us giving up a big play. But so that's the beauty of the 10-1, and also that's the pain of the 10-1. Yeah. Just like if you can block a blitz on a 10-1, they can throw deep on a one-on-one, and you might be in trouble because there's no back help, you know, for those corners. So yeah, that's going to happen at times. But yeah, to your point, and I think that's where the 3-3 helps a little bit, is those backers can now kind of shadow a little bit more down those sidelines, and when they're able to do that, then they can make the plays so those lanes stay open. But when you're in the 10-1, there's not a lot of lanes left because they all left already.
That's true. So heading into Friday night, it's going to be another chilly one, but it is at home, which is nice.
I didn't even look at the weather. Is it going
to be chilly? But the nice thing about the home press box,
where it has a heater, may not have an AC.
You don't hear me brag on the home press box too often because it's tight. We could use a remodel, let's be honest, but it does have a heater, and so that will be nice. But I think I was going to ask you what your big keys were, but you kind of already given them.
I did.
And
Sorry,
so
I jumped ahead, but
that's all right.
That's what I think.
Well,
I think that from a defensive. What do you think from an offensive perspective?
I think you just keep spreading the ball around.
Yeah, I do
and and that's one thing that DJ does as well as anybody is when he can go through his progressions, and especially, and we got to give credit to that offensive line, because the offensive line, DJ I can only remember 2 plays that DJ even had pressure on him, not sacked at all. I think they only made contact with him one time that I remember. But when DJ has time to really work through his progressions, man, with the speed and the ability of our receivers, he will always find somebody open.
His time in the pocket, I tell you, at times I'm over there starting to bite my nails a little bit watching him in the pocket, because I'm like, DJ, get rid of the ball, but he's just calm back there.
He is.
And he steps up. Now he realizes if it's collapsing a lot quicker, he's pretty quick to kind of pop out. But if he feels comfortable that, hey, they've got it, it's coming in, but it's controlled, right? Yeah. And I think that's one of the key things. He understands his offensive line now. They understand him as well. They understand where he feels comfortable in the pocket, and so they're making a pocket for him that he feels comfortable in, and they're pretty good at it.
They are. And still waiting on that special teams touchdown. It's coming. Tanner, there were multiple times I'm like, hey, there's but Muleshoe did a good job of closing it down. He still had 40 yards. I'm going to bet he averaged between 35 and 40 yards per return on Friday night. There's a big one coming. But,
for sure.
So looking forward to Friday night. Going to dress a little warmer than I did for Muleshoe. That one caught me. I thought it was going to be chilly. I didn't know it was going to be cold, and there's a difference.
I didn't have gloves either, and I was like, man, I wish I had on gloves, because that was the only thing that I was really, really cold on.
Well, hey, thank y'all for some grace tonight, as Wi-Fi just went down, and so we'll get this recording up as quickly as possible. But as you've seen on the screen, just a reminder, one of the things that we get to do this year is we've started the Jimmy Thomas Memorial Scholarship Fund. We'll look, you'll hear more and more about it come April, May, when we get ready to award it. But just a cool, as I look down at the screensaver, it's so cool what we get to do. We're blessed to get to sit in the seats we do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I've sat here for a while, and just to see the people I've met through all of this, the coaches I've been able to meet, just the athletes, it's been great. And you know, it's been one of those things that almost a lot of people asked, hey, when Trent when the boys, the twins graduate, which was 2021, are you still going to do it? And that was a question from my wife, actually. And I said, yeah, I think so. And then even this year we talked about, oh, I don't know, am I going to do it again? And it's like, I don't know what I would do on Friday night otherwise, because I've been a part of Friday night since I was, you can't see them on screen, since I was born, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I remember so far back going to Marshall Maverick games back when they played in the old stadium, which a lot of people never even remembered. But there was no parking at the stadium hardly at all. So we would go downtown on the square, and the school provided buses.
Oh,
and they
that's
would
cool.
drive us it's only 4 or 5 blocks, but they would drive us down to the stadium and drop us off, and then we would load the school buses back and go back down to the square. That's a pretty cool memory, you know, to have. And I remember, I mean, this is East Texas football, so when it came time to travel out of town, a lot of times maybe mom and dad couldn't go. Well, friends and I would go with one of the parents, and we had chartered buses that would go down to the games.
Oh, that's cool.
And so they would take 3 or 4 buses, and then when the playoffs hit, they'd take 3 or 4 buses. And I remember going to Odessa Permian and watching them play after I graduated high school. We chartered 2 American Airlines planes just for Maverick fans to get special ticket pricing, so we flew from Dallas to Odessa.
See,
you know, and I'm like, those are cool memories to have. And so I see that happening in Bushland and some of that going on. So it's a lot of fun to have those memories. So
it is. Well, we'll kick off everything about 6:30 on Friday with our Contractors Wholesale pregame show. Thanks to Nathan Bishel and his team over there for that. And we'll have kickoff at 7 as the Falcons it's week 8 is wrapped up. Now we're going. No,
we're going into week 8. Yeah.
We're about to wrap up week 8. It just blows my mind. We have 2 home games left. To think that we have River Road, and then the next one's senior night. Just it's wild to think we're already here, but believing there's a lot of December football out in front of us. So thank y'all for tuning in. Like I said, thank you for the grace in the broadcast technical difficulties tonight, and we'll see you on Friday night.
Go Falcons.